Assalamu alaikum guys, this is me Senpai Gamer San. I'm your host Senpai. We are playing the game Choices of the Matter type of game. It's very interesting game. Hope you guys love it. There are three parts of the story in this game. Hope you guys enjoy it. We're gonna be play and their heroes were lost. Getting updates to story. Who was I? Number 46. But what was my name? That should be easiest things to remember. A groan skipped my lips as a big blossom in my forehead. What is this? Watch ad to get 3 tickets. Claim your free 6 tickets. Okay. Purchase 100 choice tickets. Oh, it's a choice tickets. Nice. No name had been forgiven me for my faithful efforts. What the hell? What happened to me? Why? What happened to me? Why can't I remember who I am? And why does my head hurt so much? I don't know, replied the man, sound of quiet depression in his voice. But we are all the same. You thought we might have been mentally conditioned somehow. I said, what? Don't you remember? He said it sounded like he already know what I would answer. Oh, okay. I say, what? Don't you remember? He said, it sounded like he would know what I would answer. No, I didn't remember him. I didn't remember much of anything. There were memories of other people wearing similar prison uniform where they are now. There were also strong memories of horrible nightmare and the strange one-eye monsters. The rest was gone. Were you in here with me? When did I tell you about condition? Yes, there were 5 of us. Do you remember that? 5? No, I replied. There had been only 4 in that cell. I smell a rat, or a properly, a stole pigeon. Prison uses them to keep tabs on their inmates. Who are you really? I asked curious. If they wipe my memories, why would they use a stole pigeon? Or maybe they are testing to see how successful their memory wipe had been. Damn it, I probably just told them that I could remember something. Pretend your question was a joke. Tell the stool pigeon to go back to his pit, master. Stool pigeon. Huh. Before I could say anything, the man outside said, the guards are coming. What should I do? He would know. How would I know? I replied, confused. I saw what you did. I think I could do it too. Should I? I have no idea what you're talking about, I replied. There was a brief pause. You don't remember? Remember what? Was this another test? You broke the band. Then, in a different and much louder voice, he said, okay, okay, I'm going. And then he was gone. Confused about what the entire scenario had been about, I decided to concentrate on something more useful. Try to work out where you are, investigate the restraint. Both choices are hard, honestly. Should I work out, investigate your restraints? I thought I should work out, but then I was like, nah, man, that would be fucked up. Save, save. In a sinking cloud with the cloud 8 choices made. Rewind the last card, reset the save game, reload the book cage. Save again. What is reset, save again? Never mind, just go. The band felt like a fine metal mesh sitting tight against the skin, but not tight enough to impede breathing. And there was a box. Okay. Before I could say anything, confused about. Oh, great! I can rewind it. A box on on the back. What was that for? What was that for? Could it be one of those electronic devices they use to keep tabs on low-level criminals in home detention? According to number 48, I'd be able to break this band. That seemed unlikely, but I certainly didn't like the idea of the being monitored, so I erased my fingers under the mesh. That was a mistake. The band suddenly tightened, and within seconds my fingers were being pushed into my throat. What? Relax, it will loosen. They could have killed you already. If they did want to kill me, I'd already be dead. They obviously had other plans for me, so there's be no point in killing me now. Trusting to my logic, I waited for the tension in the band to decrease. The metal mesh closed even more tightly on my throat, and now I couldn't breathe. I was being strangled by my own fingers. But being asphyxiated was the least of my worries. The carotid arteries that supply the brain with oxygen lie close to the surface, in the throat. With the band and my fingers positioned where they were, I could pass out in seconds and die soon afterwards. As the band continued to tighten, I pushed my finger further under the mesh until I was able to force them out the other side of the band. I then squeezed my hand into fist and tried to pull them apart with all my. A cracking sound came from the region of my throat and Bash tore. I threw the torn man into the dirt floor. Angry beyond words, I got to my feet and tested my strength against the iron ring embedded in the wall. Iron ring? The chain where it attached to my right meniscus failed first. I broke the same link on the left meniscus with similar ease. This was supposed to have been a lesson. They thought they were in control. They were wrong. Think about the consequences of what you have just done. Well, that's fucked up. I think I have to back to the try to work out. Oh fuck. I think I have to load the rewind the last arc. This will delete the arc progress permanently and rewind. Oh man. Reload the book cage. You said, oh man, are you kidding me? How could I do that? Damn it. What if I rewind it? Rewind the last arc. Let's just do it. Relax. It will loosen. Oh fuck. Think about consequences what you have just done. Having a breath in the restraint of my captor, I realized that perhaps I made a mistake. Oh man. Should I have to do it again? I think I have to. Reset the game. This will delete all the progress and restart the game from the beginning. Are you sure? Yes. Just do it. I am 13 years old or older. I am 13 years old or older. There is no death in your future, but that does not mean. Ah, finally. What I was reading? Okay. There was a bright fear and then blackness. Wake up, soldier. I moved instantly and was. God damn it. I think I have to exit to the title screen. Damn it. I restart the game. I am 13 years or older. There is no that in few or future, but that does not mean the decisions are without risk. And there was a brightness. Okay. Wake up, soldier! I moved instantly and was brought up short by something that rattled and restrained my side of the arm of the grip. Okay. Their eyes full open. I realized I was in the dirt floor, not a bunk. There was a manifest attached to my wrist. The chain connecting them ran through the large ring attached to the wall above my head. And what was supposed to be thing around my throat, I felt fine a metal mesh with my finger in some sort of box on the back of my neck. A coolness of my scalp head, my fingers exploring the areas of well, someone had shaved my hair. What the hell? I levered myself up so I was leaning against the wall and looked around for answers. The room was dim and smelled of the damp earth and urine. There were others present, also chained, most lying person. Were they asleep, unconscious, dead? At least there seemed to be someone else awake. They were sitting up right in the opposite left corner watching me. There were four of us in the cell. Okay, we were all wearing same thing, sleeveless concrete, gray tracksuit and no shoe. The cell itself was the cinder block construction with the daylight coming to dimly through the chicken wire triangles. At the ends of the roof space, there was something that might be concrete water, but in the middle of the wall opposite. The air felt hot and oppressive, like it does just before a storm in the tropics. Obviously, something bad had happened. But what and why? Test your strength to your. Nah, man, I don't think so. Talk to person who is awake. Why did you call me a soldier? I asked. I did not. It was a woman's voice. She was also a bolt. There was a sound of confusion in her voice and her sensed was Canadian with something extra thrown in. But you are. Yes. She added. Wait, what? Did I double click it? No, I didn't. Why did you call me a soldier? Okay. But you are, she added. Was I a soldier? I tried the idea on for size and came up a blank. For a while of me I didn't know. I groped for an alternative and once more came up with a nothing more than a growing headache. Ouch. You too? Said the woman. Me too what? I replied. Can you remember anything? She asked and then added, what's your name? My name. It should be easiest things to remember. Ah, I replied, grinding my teeth as the pain of my head doubled. What happened to me? Why can't I remember who I am and why does my head hurt so much? I don't know, replied the woman, the sound quite desperation in her voice, but I am the same. There was a groan from the other side of the room, and the man's voice also accented said, can't you two let a block have this hangover in peace? Work out the man's accent. The guy was chained to the wall on the opposite side of the door from me. In a low light, I could just make out that he is also a bald and wearing the same short sleeved grey uniform, chains and neck bands, as the woman and I were. As he pushed himself up, I saw tattoos on his muscly arm. There was also the top of tattoo visible at his open collar. Anyone remember what were we drinking? He asked the room general, 'cause I don't. He groaned and carefully rotated one of his shoulder and then gingerly touched the side of his head. That must have been some party, he said. My head hurts. I feel like I have been fighting, and can someone please explain how I got sunburned on one side of my head? What is your name? The woman asked suddenly. Okay, my name, the man replied. He went silent for a time and then groaned and said, Bloody hell, woman, don't do that. He was Aoshia or a Brit lower class and a criminal, maybe. It's not her, I say, at least I don't think so. Investigate the woman as a possible. Work out more that the woman origin from her accent. I look across at the woman who was now leaning forward to look at the new guy. This brought her a face into the light. She looked deeply tan and had dark. Okay, let me see. First, there was something I forget to investigate. So it's the same thing. Wake up, soldier shit. Okay. Okay. There is. I look at the woman who was now leaning forward. She looked deeply tan and had dark eyes and could have been any age between 20 and 40. I could now see that there was a number of stencil on onto her top 47. I looked down and saw that I had my own number 46. Number 47, I said, looking at the woman. If you can't remember your name, can you remember where you're from? She shook her head. I have been away for a while and all I have been able to get is splitting a headache. Her accent, while a Canadian, was a flavor with something older. She wasn't tan, her skin was dark. You are the one of the First Nations people, I said. Do you remember anything about that? An Indian, said the man whose stencil read 50. Looks like they will take all sorts of this mess. What do you mean by that? Said the woman, defiance in her voice. Nothing, replied 50 with a shrug. But the big guy here is a black man, and I know I am Oshi. If this is some sort of international convention of amnesia, then catering sucks. Big time. Look for this big guy. Ignore the funny man and focus on trying to get free. Big guy. I look at the far corner, the huddled shape. There was not a big guy. Then I realized that's what I thought was concrete water butt in the middle of the opposite wall was actually a large man curled up upon himself with his back to me. He wasn't a big, he was a numerous. I whistled through my teeth and said, He's a big one? And he just replied, Number 50, a note. Was it fear in his voice? Don't let him dwell on it, was my first thought. Don't predispose him against someone you might need. Okay. Ask the other about the fifth person. What can either of you tell me about the person in the far corner? I asked. Nothing, replied the woman. I can't see them properly. After a moment, Ursula said, I think it's a child. They are small in any case. Can't tell if it's boy or a girl from here because the bastard have shaved their head as well. He paused and then added, and just the record, they are white. Why would a child be in here? Asked the woman. The Australian didn't reply, but I thought I saw what might have been laconic, laconic shrug. It was a good question. Where in the world are these prisons? They even keep men with a woman, let alone adults with children. Say anyone got any thoughts on where we might be? Work out where you are from your surroundings. It was hot and humidity was high. We were definitely south of the Tropic of Cancer. Or was that north of Tropic Capricorn? There was a jungle out there. The woman said, suddenly a wild place, I can feel it. Whoa, said 50. I think she's going all woo woo on us and being stuck in prison cell with a nutter in the last thing I bloody need. Why do you say that? I prompted the woman, ignoring the man. Can you not smell it? Can you not feel it? Replied 47. There was something in the way she spoke that had the ring of truth to it. I took a sniff and a long distance. I could smell nothing more than what I already smelled, nothing that I couldn't see. Then I heard the dog barking and a voice, a commanding man of his. Was that Spanish? Then something hit the tin roof, then another and another. In a second, all I could hear was the sound of a rain. Ask more about the jungle. This is the opportunity to escape. Tell me more about the jungle, I shouted over the sound of the torrential downpour. The woman leaned forward and I saw her say, What? I shouted, Tell me about the jungle. It was no use, the rain was too loud and we were too far apart. The woman just shook her head and leaned back against the wall. Without being able to talk to the others, I had nothing to do but evaluate the situation. The temperature dropping quickly with the rain, but the green thing on the wall told me that this was a regular event. And I did heard some Spanish. Some sort of prison in the tropics and in the jungle. If the woman was right, Central America, South America, the Philippines. A movement on the ground to my right caught my attention. I turned to see the rivulet of the water running across the packed earth. It was coming in through a gap at the bottom of the door. This place was definitely low rent. The compacted dirt floor would be slick with mud in no time. But that didn't explain these bends around our necks. What were they? The band felt like a fine metal machining tight against the skin, but not tight enough to impede breathing. And there was that box on the back. What was that for? Could it be one of those electronic devices they use to keep the tabs on low-level criminals in home detention? I didn't like the idea to being monitored, so I raised my finger under the mesh and see how strong it was. That was a mistake. Oh, fuck. Wake up, fool, listen. I woke with the start of blackness and the feeling that my entire body was gripped by some slightly yielding substance. I was no longer in holding cell. I was inside something a small, a coffin. What had happened to me? Did I black out? Was I in some sort of hospital? I began to struggle against the restraint, but stopped when I heard her voices. There were two of them, but they were faint and muffled. As the voice in my head suggested I listen. Not equipped to, it was a man voice. Then another one spoke, Empire, I'm going to. The first man then answered, saying something that I thought included the word of samples. The voice then faded to nothing as if the speaker had moved out of earshots. What on earth was going on? Where was I? More importantly, who was I? Call out these questions to people. Okay, don't panic. Let's try to work this out. I began to evaluate my situation. I was in some sort of special chamber, which only allowed for limited movement. Some sort of hard form was supporting and containing my body, and I could feel the tighter restraint around my ankles, wrist, and throats. But the container wasn't airtight. I could be breathe and be able to hear those men talking before. If anyone could answer my question, it would be them. But were they good guys or bad guys? Call out. Try to bust free. Welcome to Academy Malaysia, number 46. The man spoke English with what sounded like European accents of some type. And what was this about the camp amnesia? Have you never heard of such a place? I needed answered badly. What is going on? Why am I in prison like this? Why can't I remember who I am? I asked. So many questions. The man said in clinical manner. Understandable, really. I suppose, but I am not at liberty to answer any but the last. Well, that's the start, at least I thought so. Why can't I remember who I am? I asked. You can't remember because I have surpassed your memory, replied the man with a hint of mockery to his voice. You bastard! I shouted. Why? Demand an explanation. First of all, let me warn you that your life and even the memories of your former life are completely under my control. So, did this mean he could give me back my memories? But you will need to cooperate with me, or else. He was sounding like a bad movie villain now. I wonder if he was about to spill the whole plot. You are an unexpected variable, he said, and I don't like unknowns. Then he paused as if for dramatic effect and said, however, you might be useful in solving another little problem we have. Are you interested in getting your memories back? Tell him to cut the melodrama and tell your deal. Don't give him a direct answer and learn as much as you can. Both choices are really confusing. Both choices, man. This is interesting game, boy. I'm listening, I say. One of our inmates has escaped, and like you, he's a superhuman. I'm a superhuman? I didn't feel superhuman. While that saying in, he continued to talk. If you agree, you will join a party being ready to hunt him down. Otherwise, you will join others in a prison camp. This all sounded pretty bizarre to me, and I wonder how was I supposed to make any sort of decision with so little information. Yes or no, he said. Time is of the essence. The idea of hunting a man is disgusting. No. What did I choose, by the way? Don't give him. Yeah, boy. Okay. Alright then. The idea of hunting a man is disgusting. No. If it's that or having my memories wiped again, then yes. Good, said the voice. Here are the rules. Obey them and help us with this task, and you will get your memories back. And if things go well with you, I promise you are opportunities in the future beyond your wildest dreams. This guy was really a big nothing himself here, but for the moment I would let him play his games. 1. You are wearing a special collar. If you try to tamper with that collar, it will kill you. I could remember this collar, and I swallow involuntarily. 2. The collar is linked wirelessly to our control system. If it doesn't make a regular connection with that control system, it will automatically kill you. Damn it. That was to stop me running off too, obviously. 3. We can not only kill you remotely with the collar, but also makes things very uncomfortable for you with it. We will do it if you don't do as you are told. So, why didn't you put one of these collars on your escape prison? I asked. curious. "We did," came the reply. "Let's just say he's tougher than you and leave it at that. He's a superhuman." "Do I know him?" I asked. "His name?" The speaker paused for a moment, thought. "His name is Unstoppable Force. Does that mean anything to you?" he asked. There was a same vague memory that he was a superhero, a strong man, maybe a part of my team. That raised some interesting question about myself. "That's the really nasty. Have you made me to forget my own teammate?" "Oh, no, and I am not known by you, but he's so what does that mean?" All I got in reply was laugh. Without a further information, I needed to remain practical. "So, if he's so tough, why do you think I can beat him?" I asked. "I don't," come the quick reply. "At least not by yourself, but you will be a part of hunting party. I think you might make a difference." "You have to realize how difficult this is," I said in frustration. "I don't even know what my supposed superhuman capabilities are." I heard a slight chuckle and then he said, "And that's the fun of it. Like I said, you are an unknown variable. You are strong, tough, and seem to be intelligent. Beyond that, I can't help you in the time to frame involved." "You know you are right, son of a bitch, don't you?" I said. He laughed again and then said, "You are lucky I have intellectual bent. Don't be flippant with my brother. He would probably kill you for what you just said." "Brother?" I asked. "Yes, he will be leading the hunting party. It's the sort of thing he loves though. I don't really understand why." Dully noted, I say. "So what now?" "Okay." I say, "So what?" "Now," he replied, "I'm going to let you out of the machine. My brother wants to head out as soon as possible." With this, I felt like a start of flow sluggish back into my limbs. "As soon as I am free, try to escape. This is not right time to do anything rash. Wait and see what happens." The front part of a coffin suddenly split down the middle and light flooded in as it opened. I also felt the restraint on my wrist and ankle came loose. I blinked from the sudden glare and became aware of someone standing in front of me. The men were dressed in a hunting outfit and carrying one of the largest rifles I'd ever seen. It looked like an elephant gun. "Number 46, the tall man said with an accent similar to his brother. "I am the commandant of the Camp Amnesia. You may be refer me as such. We will be leaving in 5 minutes. I suggest you eat and drink quickly since the chase will likely be long and hard." At this point, he threw the satchel on the ground at my feet and then turned and walked to the other end of the room, where a day pack and a bulky vase, both in camouflage colors, lay waiting on the laboratory bench. I pulled myself stiffly out of the grip of the restraint form and stepped down onto the floor of the what looked like well-equipped medical facility. Or was it made scientist lair? I wasn't sure, but the man with the gun was certainly not a scientist. I reached down towards the sector, hoping that it contained some water. I was feeling woozy. Suddenly the room started to spin and fall sideways, and I went down hard. My head hit a linoleum floor, and I saw stars. The next thing I saw were the twin barrels of the elephant gun pointed directly at my face. "Don't say anything and put your hands up to surrender." "Say, so why do you need me again?" "Pathetic," he said. There was no laughter in his eyes, and the twin barrels of the gun looked enormous. "Now on your feet and get ready, soldier." You know the rules. If you disobey me or can't keep up, you're dead. He turned away and I got griggly to my feet and collected the satchel he'd given me. There was a canteen and what looked like military ration packet in it. I opened the canteen and took a long drink. The water tasted good and I was thirsty. Before I knew I was drinking the last of it, I looked around for more and saw a sink with laboratory style tapes on it on the wall. Can I get more water? I asked. The commandant was checking something on what looked like a smartphone. Better to get it here. Then in the jungle, he replied without looking up. I moved over the sink and turned on the tap. There was a pair of surgical scissors and a partly used roll of medical tape on the draining board. Steal the scissors, steal both of them. I used my body to cover what I was doing and pocketed both items. Not daring to look over my shoulder, I began to fill the canteen. Stop, what you're doing. Put the canteen down and your hands up. I froze. He'd seen what I had been. He was about to blow my head off with that gun. I said, put the canteen down. There was more force to this command. I put the canteen down, my hands up. Now turn around, he said. I did. The gun was still leaning on the bench next to him. All he held is my hands. In his hands was his own phone. That band on your neck can do more than kill, he said. He touched the screen on his phone and I felt band tighten a little. It can punish as well, he added as he slid his finger along the surface on his device. The band tightened suddenly and I reflexively brought my hands to my throat, but there was no way I could get my fingers underneath the band. I couldn't breathe, but somehow I knew that was the least of my worries. The carotid arteries that supplied brain and oxygen lie close to the surface in my throat. With the band positioned as it was, I would pass out in a second and die soon afterwards, unless the pressure was reduced. The pressure eased off and suddenly it had been applied. So, he said, standing and putting the device into one of the pockets on his vest. Hopefully, we now have understanding. Your life is in my hand. But if you perform well in this hunt, then you might have a future in our organization. He didn't wait for the reply before adding, pick up your gear. We are leaving now. Secure your gear and head out, follow his direction. Push your luck and ask about footwear. It's the jungle out there, after all. I just asked for water and he punished me horribly. Now you want me to push my luck and ask for footwear. Wow, what a great son of a bitch, soldier. Great son of a bitch. Dude, really? Footwear? Push your luck and ask about footwear. It's a jungle out there after all. Secretly pleased that he hadn't noticed my theft, I finished filling my canteen and screwed on the lid before putting in my sextant. I slung the satchel on my shoulder and walked to where he waited at doorway. So, can I get some boots? I said, looking down at my bare feet. He sneered at me and was about to say something when another man appeared in the doorway. You will need this, said the newcomer, throwing a pair of something black at me. I cuffed them automatically, my attention being cuffed by the man who had thrown them. These two weren't just brothers, they were twins, with the difference in their appearance due to obvious lifestyle choices. The commandant had been roughened around the edges by the rigorous life. He even had a long scar on his chin. His brothers, on the other hand, wore his blonde hair long as opposed to short of the wore glasses. The difference were slight and the similarity striking right down to some sense self-assurance. These were the people who had no problems with the confidence. Let's go, said the commandant, and he directed me to proceed him down corridor. His brother led the way to a small elevator which he opened but did not enter. Okay. The commandant and I rode the elevator upwards, and no words farewell or good luck had passed between the two siblings as they parted. Storing the piece of the information away from the later consideration, I took the opportunity of the short trip to look at what I had been given, a pair of the leather sandals with soles made from their threads. Say nothing but the best for the staff, I see. Say nothing. The commandant doesn't look like the type of appreciate joke. Okay. If I quiet, it would be bad. If I say, I'd be suspicious. Huh. Both choices are hard. I don't know what should I say. Let me think. Okay. I guess I have to say nothing. I have to be careful. The journey was short and we stepped out for the lift into what looked like a poor cousin of the medical facility I had been in down to below. I then watched as the commandant closed what I soon realized was the hidden door to the elevator. What? The glare he gave me stopped me from finishing what I was about to ask. He then pointed, and I once more preceded him out to medical center into completely different setting. This building had all of the hallmarks on the old Kalinin style building in a tropical jungle, including the heat, which made me realize that this room downstairs had been fully air conditioned, and that I hadn't even appreciated the fact at the time. We made our way through a room that looked like an office, and then stepped out through the set of the glass double doors onto the wooden veranda, where there were some men in a tan-color uniform and two Alastation dogs waiting. Four of the men were wearing full military kit and carrying assault rifles. They also looked nervous. Dogs growled at me and had to be restrained by their handlers. Captain Rico, said the commandant. Yes, commandant, replied the fifth man, who was wearing the peaked cap of an officer. His accent was Spanish. You will keep the prisoner in the lockdown until the perimeter breach is secured. Feed them with the cold ration in the barracks if necessary. Yes, sir. Do you think you will be that long, sir? I don't know, but you will be able to follow us on the tracker, and will report. I will report in at least hourly. Keep the doctor informed of my progress. Yes, sir. And the prison, sir. He. Yes, sir. And the prisoner? Sir? He said, looking at me. Coming with me, he replied, and lead the way down the stairs. Put on the sandal quickly and ask about the hunt skewery. Put on the sandal quickly while looking around the area. Okay. Hunt Curie. The commander didn't answer and was obviously in a hurry, though I did notice he took the time to ruffle the ears of two dogs as he was passing. It seemed they were more important to him than I was. The house we were living was yellow stone brick with a dark wooden finishing. It looked like someone's home. To my left and right there were some more utilitarian buildings that had military look to them. They were all painted a military green. Ahead of me was what had to be is the camp of Amnesia the commandant and his brother had mentioned earlier. It was a prison camp, complete with the high wire fences and the guard towers. The side of the closet to me must be 200 yards long. I strapped on the retreat saddle and headed off after the soldiers with the dogs who were being dragged along by their charges. who were trying to keep pace with the commandants. Two of the soldiers fell in behind me, their rifles at the ready. It seemed that they at least thought I was possible a danger. As the double time was jog along a road that ran next to the high double fence of the camp. Learn as much as you can about the camp. Catch up to the commandant and stay close. I stopped to adjust my sandal, and while the two soldiers behind me shouted orders at me in Spanish, urging to hurry up, "Atrap!" I took in some of the details of the camp. There was a vehicle repair shed, complete with a truck up on the hoist, a communications building with a large satellite dish on the top, and there was even small solar farm to provide power. So while it looked like we were off the grid, there was definitely still the mean to communicate with the outside world. That was useful to know. I broke into the run and smiled as the soldier behind me stared, calling for me to stop. I was fairly confident they wouldn't use their weapon as long as I stayed between them and those in front of us. The camp turned out to the most of the building, which were mainly wooden building, rise up on stem on one side of the compound. Once we were past them, I saw that the rest of the fence in the area seemed to be devoted the growing to the growing crops. I also saw the perimeter breach that the commandant had mentioned earlier. The guard's tower on the far corner of the camp was down. It had fallen into the compound and destroyed many rows of plants. I asked how I'm supposed to handle something that can do that. Run on, eager to test yourself against a worthy foe. Run on, eager to test yourself against the worthy. The guards with the dogs let me pass, preferring for me to be in front of them rather than stepping on their heels, I suppose. The dogs themselves barked aggressively at me and had to be held at bay, and I wonder how much as they were going to be if they couldn't distinguish me from the escape. I did notice with interest to the language the handlers used sounded like a Spanish, but I couldn't understand what they are saying. We turned the corner of the camp compound and kept running along the track that ran between the fence and some more farmland. These outer fields were bored. Damn it. These outer fields were bordered by the line of the squalid huts that sat just inside the jungle perimeter, and I could see the group of the people in the rough clothes with the dark skin. They were pointing at us and talking. They were reminding me of a picture I've seen, a South American Indian. This, the heat and humidity and the Spanish made me think we were possibly somewhere in the South America. Okay. I feel this way for a future reference and cuffed up with the commandant. Find out how good he really is, give the commandant to run for his money. Keep the past the commandant and evaluate yourself against him. I put on some more pace and noted that he increased his own speed. I ran a little faster and then faster again. He started to fall behind and I smiled. Are you faster than Speeding Bullet? I heard him shout. I slowed down and let him catch up. Just testing my limits, I said. He just grunted and we kept running at his pace until we reached the fallen tower. The two of us weren't even breathing hard, and the others were good 30 yards behind us. We weren't the first people here, thought. There was a light track in a military green, 4 guards in a tan uniform. One of the guards was watching the distant jungle with what looked like a riot gun at ready. Another 2 were process of carrying a body bag to the vigil. The 4th guard was sitting on the ground, nourishing what looked to be broken arm or collarbone. He also had a gash above his right eye that was bleeding profusely. Eldon Germain, wait and see what the commandant does. How about health injured men? I went over to injured man who seemed to somewhat dazed and confused. When he noticed my presence, a look of alarm came over his face. It's okay, I said, as he struggled to get to his feet. He spoke repeatedly in Spanish, but the only thing I could understand was the word superhero. The commandant spoke to the injured man in Spanish tones, indicating a question. The man, now on his feet and looking flustered, replied hatingly, all the while looking between the two of us, confusing. I noticed the other guards were also looking at me apprehensively. Clearly, having a prisoner on this side of the fence was not usual. But considering the damage, it was also clear that this was not a regular day at the camp of Amnesia. The commandant asked the man a few more questions and then directed an order at the dog handlers. They moved forward with their animals, who had become quiet and had their tails between their legs. It was clear they already had decision and that it was the one they didn't like. When one of the dogs began to whine, the commandant called them back, a look of disgust on his face. He turned to me and said, well, number 46, prove my brother is right about you. What can you tell me about our escape prison? Say, so I am supposed to be your dog now. Examine the wreckage clue. Say, so I am supposed to be your dog now. Am I? Am I? Huh? Say, examine the wreckage for clues. I stepped over the collapsed fence and went to look at the wreckage. Experimentally, I sniffed the air and was little relieved when I could smell no more than what I could see cause for. Clearly, I had no super sense of smell. From what I could see, the tower seemed to have collapsed under its own weight. After the support facing the camp had been broken away, the fence posts and wires for about 20 yards on either side had come down with the tower. I moved closer to the base of the fallen tower looking for the cause of the collapse. There was a twisted wire and splintered of the woods from the broken legs of the tower everywhere. The ground under where the tower had stood was also churned up, which I thought was a bit strange. I noticed that Commandant had moved into the side as well and had squatted down to inspect the ground. So, I am not a tracker. What am I supposed to be looking for? Okay, there was a repeated mark pressed deeply in the mud at the number of the different angles with some impression overlying others. It took me a moment to realize what I was looking for but then I saw them misshapen footprints that resembled those of a prison, but they were at least twice as big as my own, seemed to have too many toes. What the? I let slip. Mercury said the commandant, he will be easy to follow, so I think we can be dispensed with the dogs. They can smell his unnatural and will be the next useless because of their fear of him. He got to his feet and after telling me to keep looking step away to the dog handlers who were still outside the fence line dealing with their sacred animals. Scavenge something that might be useful later. Under the pretense looking for more clues, I moved closer to the top of the fallen tower. There was a lots of fencing wire lying around, something that could be useful in the future. There was a piece of that was about 3 feet long that had been stretched beyond the breaking point. At one end was attached to a shattered piece of timber at the other. I bent down the mine end and the ground around it, and with the surprising ease managed to disentangle it from the woods and wind the stiff wire into the tight coil. After checking that I wasn't being observed, I stuffed the coil wire into my satchel, all the while marveling at the strength I had in my fingers. The person of the normal strength wouldn't have been able to do what I had just done. Maybe I was a superhuman after all. Are you done? Called the commandant. Ask him about the unstoppable force. So, what can you tell me about the unstoppable force? I asked as I walked up to where the commandant stood waiting, cradling his large rifle in a crook on his right arm. He is a big black man whose body reacts strangely when it gets hurt. He replied, his eyes scanning the jungle. Strangely? In that he gets really strong, I asked, looking at the elephant gun. He noticed the direction of my gaze and said, everything has its limits. But that will kill him, surely. But that will kill him, surely, I said. He just shrugged and said, this is just an insurance. I hope to be able to reason with him. I turned to look at the collapsed tower. It didn't look like the damage had been done by something that could be reasoned with. In the non-violent state, the unstoppable force is also a scientist, someone of considerable intelligence. Once he realizes he is surrounded by the mass of the hostile jungle, I am hoping he will see the sense and come back to the camp of his own violation. Miles of jungle? I asked. Yes, many miles of jungle, he replied. Welcome to the camp of Anasia. Why are you here? Why are you here? The commandant no longer seemed to be in such a hurry to go after his escape prison, so I pushed my luck and asked another question. What's all about this the wrong place in the wrong time? I asked. The commandant answered while looking expectantly back into the camp. You, the unstoppable force, and the others were all don't know who you are. Okay, we're all captured at the same time. We don't know who you are, but as you survive the capture process, you were shipped off here with the other superhumans. Why not just kill us? That would be wasteful. We don't like to be wasteful, he replied. I then lost his attention completely as he gestured to someone behind me. Turning, I saw a couple of more guards running toward us down the gap between the camp two fences. The dog handlers trotted off to meet them, with their animals who seemed very eager to leave. Now might be a good time to escape. Now might be a good time to ask another question. Okay, now might be a good time to ask another question. How about the escape? I don't think escape would be necessary. That motherfucker gonna shoot me. Okay. What should I do, man? I just got one ticket. Why I couldn't save? Damn it. Okay. Now might be the good time to ask the question. Why did you wipe my memories? I asked. Soap for the camp, he replied. He also normally helps to keep the prisoner tractable. Standard of national procedure, not wanting to be wasteful, clearly the commandant and his brother were part of something much bigger. Enough question, he added, still not looking at me. As soon as my men hand the dogs over and get back, we will heads off, so be ready, said the commandant. Cooperate and learn more about what's going on. Man, I guess that's it. That's all for now. It's been 1 hour. So I'm playing this game. Let's try the another game with the another recording. Bye bye. Take care. Love you all. Allah Hafiz. Sayonara. Pakistan Zindabad. Peace. If you guys love it, let me know in the comments down below.